Welcome in. Grab your coffee, maybe pull up a comfortable chair, and let's just settle into this space for a minute. Think of today's explainer as, well, your own personal retreat, a quiet, focused moment completely away from the noise of your day to day operations. Today, we're walking through a precision behavioral engineering exercise, and it's specifically designed to evolve your leadership. Look, we're not just going to sit here and talk about high level theories. No way. We're here to do the actual structural work of building the leader you are becoming. So take a breath, get comfortable, and let's get to work. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to really sit with this question for a second. What will help me stay connected to my choice? Whenever we step into a new tier of leadership, we're making a conscious choice. A choice to act differently, to think differently, and to lead with a much higher level of clarity. But you and I both know the reality of what happens next. The literal second you step out of a coaching session and walk back into the chaos of your organization, those old reflexes, they pull at you hard. The emails flood in, crises flare up, the pressure melts. So the ultimate challenge isn't really making the choice to evolve in the first place, it's maintaining those brand new leadership habits when the gravity of your past behavior is actively trying to drag you backward. Which brings us to Section 1, Your Leadership Evolution, Bridging Two Identities. And this brilliantly illustrates a concept called identity rehearsal. Think of this as a precision tool engineered entirely for your specific, unique growth. We are absolutely not leaving your development up to chance or, hoping you just feel motivated enough. We are building a structured protocol to help you cross the gap between where you're standing right now and where you're headed. Look at it like this. On one side, we have who you are right now. That includes your current capacity and strengths, sure, but also your current limitations and those pesky default reactions. On the other side, we have who you are becoming, that fully aligned, highly effective leader you're stepping into. Identity rehearsal acts as the literal bridge between these two states. It's the daily practice of stepping out of your old mold and actively rehearsing the mindset and behaviors of your future self, literally practicing them until they become your new normal. So let's break down exactly what this bridge is actually made of. Notice that our purpose here isn't about just wishing for change or simply trying harder. This is behavioral engineering. We use identity rehearsal to intentionally retrain your emotional patterns so you don't instantly default to frustration or anxiety the minute you're under pressure. We use it to rewire your decision pathways, making absolutely sure you make strategic choices rather than reactive ones. By actively reducing that reactivity and really strengthening your baseline discipline, you're essentially upgrading the entire operating system of your leadership. You are building resilience from the ground up. And as we look at the second half of our purpose, you can see how this routine goes even deeper. When you consistently rehearse who you are becoming, this amazing thing happens. You begin to dissolve imposter syndrome. You literally stop feeling like you're just playing a role, and you start fully owning your authority. It builds this quiet, undeniable presence in the boardroom. It stabilizes your leadership energy so you aren't just riding a constant roller coaster of highs and lows, depending on whatever crisis popped up that day. You anchor your confidence, and you train these new habits from the inside out. It's all about establishing a rock-solid foundation so your leadership isn't easily shaken by anything external. Moving on to Section 2, the accountability anchor, sustaining identity through aligned action. So, the crucial point is this. If identity rehearsal is the bridge we just built, the accountability anchor is the heavy, structural support beam that keeps that bridge from completely swaying in the wind. Remember our core question earlier, what will help me stay connected to my choice? Well, this is the answer. The anchor provides the consistency, the discipline, and the follow-through required to keep your chosen identity totally stable. It holds you firmly in place when emotions run hot, when distractions pull at your sleeve, and especially when those old habits try to sneak back in. It simply holds the line until your new identity becomes an automatic reflex. Now for Section 3, building your support structure, looking at behavioral engineering in practice. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is where we get highly practical. I want you to look at these next options almost like a menu of behavioral engineering tools. As we go through them, really think about which one fits your specific environment and your specific challenges, because we're going to build your personal support structure today, right now. First up, we have time and rhythm anchors. This could literally be as simple as setting a 10-minute timer on your desk with the grounding phrase, "I only need to begin," which, by the way, is fantastic for overcoming procrastination on those big, high-level tasks. Or maybe it's a dedicated morning ritual that just locks in the tone for your whole day. Then we have visual and environmental anchors, a strategically placed sticky note on your monitor or a phone reminder that literally interrupts your day just to prompt a pause and a quick realignment. Finally, social and relational anchors. Look, leadership can be incredibly isolating, right? So a quick check-in with a trusted peer who knows exactly what you're working toward, or even making a public declaration to your team, can create incredible leverage to ensure you actually follow through. Continuing on with our menu, we can look at some slightly different approaches here. Mental and somatic anchors are absolutely phenomenal for when you're actively in a triggering situation. This could be a specific journal prompt to rapidly reorient your racing thoughts, or taking a short physical walk just to remove yourself from a tense environment, or maybe using a simple grounding phrase to interrupt a biological stress response. And then we have boundaries and stakes. These are the strongest tethers we've got. This means setting a totally non-negotiable boundary to aggressively protect your time and energy, or establishing a specific, predetermined consequence if you fall back into a misaligned pattern. These stakes ensure that defaulting to your old habits actually costs you something. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the profound simplicity of the whole idea. The anchor doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be an effective tether that keeps you connected to your intentions when life pulls you towards your past reflexes. As high performers, we often trick ourselves into thinking that complex problems absolutely require complex solutions. But in behavioral engineering, complexity is the enemy of execution. Your anchor shouldn't be some exhaustive 12-step process that takes an hour to complete. It just needs to be a simple, unbreakable tether. A timer, a quick walk, a text message to a colleague. It's really simple, but it is highly, highly effective. And that brings us to your specific action item for today. Which anchor will you choose? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. I want you to mentally look back at the menu we just discussed: time, visual, social, mental, or boundaries, and select just one. Choose the one specific anchor that you are going to put into place immediately to sustain the new leadership identity we've rehearsed today. Lock it in, test its strength, and just watch how it completely transforms your follow-through. Thank you so much for stepping into this space and doing the hard work with me today. Now, go set your anchor.